And welcome to the Double Fall Podcast. Today, we are talking about number one player in the world, Jannik Sinner. He is, as of last week, banned from tennis for only 3 months, though. Some of the most convenient timing for the 3 months for him to have to serve this. Just to give a little background on the case before we talk about the significance of it. Last year, he tested twice for a banned substance, clobetasol. It was cleared by the ITIA, that is the International Tennis Integrity Agency, that there was no negligence on the part of Sinner. It was mainly a member of his team that applied some cream or some spray to a cut that he had, and that's what led to him testing positive for the steroid. So they had no penalty on Sinner. And then that's where WADA came in this year, and they appealed that decision saying, oh, this Yannick should be at fault. And that's where the whole Sinner's going to be banned for 1 to 2 years came into the stratosphere. So when the settlement came through last week and everyone was like, how is he not banned for a year? This is the most convenient suspension ever. Like, he barely got suspended. He went from having no penalty to 3 months. The 1 to 2 years, WADA was always going to have to make a strong case for that to happen. And to avoid that situation altogether, especially from Sinner's side, to have a new set of eyes look at the case, him not be reprimanded or viewed differently than he was last year. He reached the settlement. He took the 3 month ban. I thought from the anti-doping agency's point of view, they had to make a precedent here that the player cannot be 100% not at fault for his team's mistakes, because then down the road that just opens up a rabbit hole for every other player who tests positive to be like, oh, I can blame it on my team member. So they had to send a message suspending Sinner for at least some part of it. But I don't know about you, but my obviously I'm a Sinner fan. I'm gonna root for him to play as much tennis as possible. I don't want one of the best players in the world to have to miss out on slams. So yes, this is convenient timing. People are saying it's bad optics for the sport. I think tennis is going to be fine.
I think that it would be bad optics for the sport if the case were different and it was shown that, they don't really know if Sinner did it intentionally, but since it seems so conclusive that completely unknown to him, like he was just, getting a rub down or spray on a cut, like you said, or whatever was happening from his team member, there's only so much Sinner can do to control that. But at the
Exactly.
same time, it wouldn't make sense to not punish him at all, considering you have to be responsible for what the members of your team do. So hopefully that guy got shit canned.
I think he's
Um,
already working with Berrettini, but that was just a rumor I saw. I gotta confirm that, but that's weird that he's allowed to like still be in the sport and everything.
I mean,
Um,
everyone makes mistakes, I guess, but he's not
Definitely.
punished. He's not punished at all, and Sinner is punished for his mistake. It's like, okay, it kind of sucks,
Very
but
much true.
I think that it is maybe not a coincidence, but regardless, best possible outcome. Like if it were to be any 3 month period, best that it's now because okay, yeah, he's missing a few Masters 1000s, but he's gonna be contending for all four Grand Slams, and this could very well be the year that he gets his first non-hard court win.
Yeah, he's
So
coming off of two Grand Slams wins. He's won the Australian Open and the US Open last year. Being out this 3 months is going to guarantee him losing at least, I think it's like 2,000 up to 2,500 points. So his massive lead he's going to have in the number one player in the world ranking is going to take a dip. Zverev and Carlos, if they have good stints in the clay season, performances at Indian Wells, they're going to be able to have a shot at taking that number one ranking while Sinner's away. But I think the big thing in the case where I don't, people online were going crazy on Twitter. They like, it seemed a little uninformed and they were just pushing their own agenda, saying, especially with Kyrgios, with the whole steroids thing. The main takeaway I took from reading the WADA statement and everything they said about the case was this was not performance enhancing, and there was no intention to cheat on Sinner's part, and that's what they dictated. So everyone was mad about him settling here. But if you're also WADA, you can't look that. You have to save face a little bit too. Say if they waited till April and they had this whole trial and they had no hard evidence to pin Sinner down that warrants a 1 to 2 year ban, that would also look bad on their part. So they kind of saved face a little bit too, taking this deal where it's a little bit of best of both worlds, where Sinner gets to be punished, but it's not such an egregious punishment where he wouldn't want to do it. I think it's a little bit, people are victimizing Sinner here, but I think this raises more questions about like the process, the due process that other players that aren't as big as name as him, do they get the same due process and ability to fight for their careers that Sinner got here? Yes, people are faulting Sinner for that, but that's more on the anti-doping agencies to not offer that and the other players to have that same luxury to fight like Sinner did. So if anything, I
Mhm.
thought this was like a win for them because now everyone's like, hey, Yannick got away with, not got away with it, but like he got this treatment. Now I should be deserving of that treatment. So if he got slammed, like people get a little pissy because people like with Mikhail Ymer, he missed 3 tests, not even failed tests, just didn't take the test, so that qualified for him for like a 2 year ban. Every case by case basis is going to be different, but I thought in the case of Sinner, the punishment fit the crime, and I'm glad it's finally over and we can move on. And then when he comes back, it's all about the tennis.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, as far as WADA and the whole, anti-doping, um, agencies, like they just have to be consistent. No tennis pun intended or anything, but it's really important that they're just okay. Use this as how they handle this kind of situation, and even if it's number 200 in the world, if a member of his team gives him something, that's deemed not performance enhancing, then can get slap him with that 3 month ban. Don't give that guy a year or two because it won't make the headlines or anything.
Hmm.
So, opportunity for them to be consistent. And I think it's been such a mess with a few of the women's players, like Simona Halep, probably the most glaring example of injustice that she missed. I think it was 2 years of like
Yeah,
in her prime at the top of the game, and
that
we'll
pretty
always
much
have a
retired
chip on her
her.
shoulder. Yeah, we'll always have a chip on her shoulder there, and apparently it wasn't her fault either, but they handled it differently. So moving forward, they have to continue to treat cases like this the same way.
Yeah, you need to be fair to everyone. Obviously, if Sinner was doing the Lance Armstrong and like and actively actually blood doping and like getting that massive advantage, sure, suspend him for the rest of his career. But I just don't think it was like that at all.
Yeah,
And I don't, and however many times Kyrgios can comment the like syringe needles on his post, like that doesn't make this worse of a crime than it is. And from the tennis perspective of it, Sinner doesn't get to compete for 3 months. I'm not entirely sure the rules for him allowed to him training, but it's going to be
yeah, you
really
can't. They're like,
funny.
if we see you hit a tennis ball, you're banned for life.
I
I'm
don't know how
sure.
they're
I'm
good.
sure it's fine.
I don't know how they're going to regulate him not being able to train, but I think it's going to be really funny when he comes back and just adds new dimensions to his game that we've never seen before. And yes, he doesn't have like the buildup of
You
matches.
think he's just gonna serve and volley every time?
Yeah, he's
Well, we're seeing a completely different. He's gonna come back and just be a completely different. No hat. He's just gonna have grown his hair
yeah.
out. He's
That
gonna
would be
start
really
doing a
funny.
headband. He's gonna play lefty.
That would be
Wow,
so
he's a
funny.
completely different player we're seeing here after the 3 month doping ban.
It's like, what retreat did he just go on to to find enlightenment? But
He's got the short
okay,
shorts.
I didn't mean he's gonna be a completely different player. I just meant like he's gonna fine tune aspects of it. He gets to work on shit more,
He's already
basically.
way the best player. I mean,
Yeah. But now
him Federer's.
last year I thought going into the Roland Garros, I mean, he went 5 with Carlos, but now he's going to be fresh as a daisy, not the grind of 3 months of matches under his belt. His body's going to be primed for these next 3 slams, and
I don't know.
Winning cures all questions. If he comes back and is winning Grand Slams and titles, people are gonna forget about this.
We say it all the time. It's result oriented, but you know, taking time off, we all see how these guys struggle when they first come back physically, especially for a guy like Sinner. So yeah, he's gonna hopefully use this 3 months to sustain his physicality
Hmm.
and make sure his mentals are there because little hiccups like this are easier said than done to come back from. I think
Yeah,
Sinner's shown that he is a very mentally strong player, but we're gonna have to wait and see. It seems like it will be very short notice for him to be expected to play his absolute best at Roland Garros.
it's a little
But
convenient. He has the room for like a warm up in his home
oh, that's true.
country.
That
So
is true.
he gets to come back before probably his biggest 1,000 of the senior of his season in front of the home Italian crowd. So I think the reception of when he comes back isn't going to be like boos from the crowd at all. If anything, it's going to be a warm reception because it's their prized possession of a player. But yeah, I agree with you saying it's a lot of unknown. Hopefully he can come back in relatively good form. It's going to be very interesting to see what Carlos does in his absence. We've already seen him, lose in Doha to Lehechka, but the Indian Wells and the Sunshine Double is where he thrives and really when his season gets going. So we're gonna see
Well,
like a fully informed Carlos when Sinner
oh
comes
yeah,
back.
definitely. And like you said, this is a opportunity for Zverev and Alcaraz to push for that number one ranking. I don't know. Zverev's off to a little shaky start to clay season, but I'm sure he'll right the ship. Small sample size thus far, but I'm very interested in what Djokovic's approach is going to be and how he is physically because apparently he wasn't looking too hot after his loss against Berrettini
Yeah.
physically. Like on the court, he seemed pretty fine, but he's hobbling and there's concerns that he might be out for a little extended period of time. So let's see how serious Djokovic handles the Sunshine Double and like Rome, or is he only going to have his eyes on the French Open? Last year, he had too many grueling five setters, so eventually it caught up to him, and he had to. Was that against Casper Ruud? They withdrew
I think so.
in
I
like the
know Casper Ruud did get
quarterfinals.
like a bye
He
into the
just
semis.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. Is Ruud got the walkover because Djokovic had like a five set duel and then gave everything it had against like Cerundolo or something.
Yeah. Uh,
Let's see how Djokovic bounces back though. I'm very interested in that.
this
Will
definitely
Fonseca
gives
will Fonseca make the quarters at least? Good
he got
chance.
he got a wild card to Indian Wells, so we will definitely be talking about him very soon.
Can't wait.
We could do a whole other video on him. Just we're just gonna do weekly Fonseca videos, like updates on João Fonseca, because I think he's gonna be
He's
a
the truth.
megastar. With
Definitely.
Sinner out of the game for now, we have so many opportunities for players to step up into the sunshine because for a moment there he was kind of mowing everybody down and he doesn't give away the occasional loss like Carlos can. Sinner is pretty steady and he just ruthlessly wins matches and doesn't give anybody who's not like a top five player like a chance to beat him.
Yeah,
So
that's going to be a big uh, hole in the top of the draw, or wherever in the draw that people can capitalize on that quarter that's missing Sinner, make a deeper run than they would have. So yeah, interesting to see how that's going to affect these tournaments in the next 3 months.
yeah,
Let's see.
the tennis still needs to be played. The sport will go on. I think everyone needs to relax about Sinner. The ban was fair. We'll take it, and we're gonna move on. And let's just enjoy the sport in tennis because these
Yeah,
matches are
I'm
still gonna get
pissed.
played.
I'm pissed off at Kyrgios, honestly. Like for like, he's officially he's out of my good graces because just the his whole beef with Sinner, just one sided, and Kyrgios is just using it for clout,
Yes.
seemingly, and B, it's just like ungrounded. Like I don't know what he's trying to do, but he's really, as he's done most of his career, just making an ass of himself and like wanted to root for him so bad. for the last couple of years since he had that Wimbledon run. I wanted him to, silence all the naysayers and have him break through. And it's great in a way what he stands for, that he's, anti-traditionalist tennis players, like, which is great because the snobby like country club mentality is frustrating. And I'm all for, like, tearing down that establishment, but at the same time he's just been asinine recently, especially with the Sinner thing. Though it's
That was
not
very
not
well.
chill
That
by him, not chill.
yeah, not chill at all. Very well said. It does feel like he's kind of doing it for the clickbaity attention, which is disappointing because I thought he was better than that.